Hello, SRL fans, and welcome back to another race weekend. A wonderful Saturday here today, and we are looking forward to some great racing. It is round 14 of the Formula One World Championship hosted by SRL, and we are here at the Temple of Speed. It is no other place than Monza, and it is of course for the Italian Grand Prix. Where else would we be? And we are just waiting for a couple of drivers to join, but you can see that the grid is slowly filling up here today. And let's just quickly run through the participants who've already joined the lobby. We have Sandro Doulis, who'll be hoping for a very strong result here today, as he is flying the flag for the Scuderia Ferrari, and it is obviously their home track here today. A man who had a bit of a letdown last time out, unfortunately, is up next. It is Tim Venting, who didn't have the result that he would have hoped for, unfortunately, with how other drivers ended up finishing. His championship charge at the moment is looking a little bit on edge at the moment, but there is still time, obviously. We are not done yet, so there's still plenty of time to recoup all of the points that he needs to maybe mount a championship challenge. Alexei Koivuniemi is a driver who really loves this track. He has won here before in SRL, and he will be hoping for a similar result, potentially flying the flag for Alpine. Then the first of the two Haas drivers, it is Robin Herstadhagen, the Norwegian, is back again in the American outfit. And speaking of American, the American who managed to get his first SRL points last time out, it was his second appearance in SRL in Grand Prix format. It is Mike Lowry, who is back again, and much like him, Jensen Randall back in Papaya, he is going to be looking to continue his form that he can potentially carry over from last week's Grand Prix. Then we have Ivan Brito, currently not in the correct car. He will be switching over to the Mercedes seat very shortly, but he will be hoping that he can help his teammate Jerome Aramaco in a very tight constructors battle at the moment. The top three covered by what would only be a very small blanket at the moment. And at the moment, Mercedes sitting on top in that championship, but they are being hunted down by the Williams team. Then we have Jesper Lempinen in the V-Carb. Looking forward to see what he can do today. Similarly with Jack Richards substituting in the Aston Martin here today, I am pretty sure. As far as I remember, he is a substitute, but let me just quickly double check that. No, he is a full-time driver, apparently. I must have got something wrong in my notes then. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. He is in the Aston Martin nonetheless. And speaking of the Williams, well, actually no, let's take Vincenzo Torre, because he is substituting in the Aston Martin today. And we'll be looking forward to see what those two can do. The first of the two Williams here today, it is Danish Dynamite back on the grid again, Jamie Jägerström, and he will be looking to carry a good form that he's had over the course of this season whenever he's been with us on the grid, together with his teammate Nicola Falsaresi. And as I said, maybe they can challenge these guys, Mercedes, for the Constructors' Championship. And speaking of the other championship, Jerome Aramaco at the moment sitting on 250 points in the championship, ahead of Tim Venting's 185 points. He has a big gap, and he increased that gap last time out in Belgium with a wonderful comeback drive after a somewhat sloppy qualifying performance. Then back again we have Nick van Gelder. He is back from vacation. He's been to Italy as far as I am aware. But he is back in time for, well, the Italian Grand Prix nonetheless. So maybe that is why he is with us today. He is capable of actually making it. Who would have guessed? Another Italian here on the grid. It's a great showing for the Italians today. Andrea Latrella in the V-Carb today as well. And if my memory serves me correctly, this is the closest he will get to a home race. Because I am pretty sure that Imola is a bit further away from where he was born and raised. Nicola Falsaresi already had great success on home soil. He finished on the podium in his actual home Grand Prix at Imola. But here today he will also be hoping for a good result, just to fly the Italian flag ahead of the Tifosi. A man who has spent a lot of time in Italy, though, is Alex Benedicchetti. He is here today in the Kick Sauber, and we'll be looking to maybe get some points on the board if possible. And then we have the other Alpine of Pablo Bas, who himself already have clocked a victory this season. I can see there's a bit of movement between the drivers, so I don't really know what that is about. Must be swapping teams, it seems. And last on the list, hasn't jumped into his seat just yet. It is Dion Stahl, but he will be in the scarlet red to maybe, hopefully, give the Tifosi something to cheer about, together with Sandro Dulis. But that is what the grid looks like for today. As we can see, drivers getting jumbled around a little bit. I think that is because Ivan Brito finally decided to pick the seat that he's actually supposed to substitute into. And at the moment, we are still waiting for a couple of drivers as far as my notes say. According to my notes, I don't know whether this is correct, but we are still yet to see Diego Rantala, who made his debut last time out in Belgium. He's supposed to substitute at Kick Sauber, and Alessandro Iocca in the McLaren supposedly as well. But we will see if they decide to show up at some point. And right now we are just awaiting the start of this first session. It is obviously directly into qualifying as soon as the drivers are ready. And we are just currently waiting for that. And yes, as some of you are mentioning here in the live chat, it is the Temple of Speed, and that is the reason for that nickname for Monza is obviously due to its high top speeds over the course of a single lap. It is the lap with, I think, actually the fewest amount of corners. It could be rivaled by Red Bull Ring, as far as I'm aware, but I'm not sure. But the straights here at Monza are very, very long, and also slipstream is going to be a huge thing here today, and we are probably going to see that pretty quickly as we get into both qualifying but also the race. So at the moment, let's see who we are waiting for. We have 18 drivers readied up and ready to go. It would be nice if we could have a full grid, as that is not something that happens too often, so that would be very, very nice here today. But if we can just quickly, because obviously it's been some time since we spoke about it, but we did mention it quickly that Jerome Adamaco in the Drivers' Championship currently on 250 points, ahead of Tim Benting's 185 points. So Adamaco at the moment building a very substantial gap in the championship to his rivals. And if it is to be believed that he is set to miss a couple of races later in the season, he will need that gap. And Tim Benting, as we have said countless times, he is just looking to damage limitate everything. But apart from that, we also have a battle for P3 in the championship at the moment. Nicolo Falzaresi on 153 points. And right behind him in 4th place in the championship at the moment is Jensen Randall. And he is only sitting a measly 4 points behind the Italian. So a very close battle. I think that might actually be the closest battle in the top 10 of the championship at the moment. And obviously that gap originally before Belgium was only at 1 point, but due to a brilliant strategy call from the Williams garage when the rain started to come down as we are getting ready here to go into qualifying. But yeah, Williams made a brilliant strategy call at the end of the Belgium Grand Prix. If you haven't watched it, I would highly suggest, because that was a very entertaining race. But yeah, rain came down in the last couple of laps of that Grand Prix, and Williams made the early call to box Falzaresi ahead of the front pack, and he ended up claiming a podium due to the brilliant strategy calls. So yeah, very, very exciting times there. But yeah, good to see so many people in the live chat, active on the live chat. That's always nice to see. And yeah, let us know who you are rooting for. We have seen a couple of people in the live chat over the course of the last couple of races. There's been a lot of support for both Mike Lowry, especially, but also we are used to seeing support for several drivers such as Ivan Brito, Jerome Aramaco, and the likes of these as we get into qualifying, and it looks a little bit overcast here. So let's see, it looks to be, for now at least, it looks to be dry, but those clouds look very heavy and potentially we could be looking at rain, as it seems. But Jensen Randall, the first man out of the garage, he is on soft tires, and with an early exit like this, it certainly looks like the weather could potentially play a role in this qualifying session later on. We will await and see that. But yeah, Jensen Randall, first man out on track. Right behind him is Jerome Aramaco, championship leader. And we can see Alexei Kovaniemi as well has ventured out onto the track. Same with Pablo Bas. So drivers are not sitting into the pits and awaiting for the track to rubber in. This is a situation where they feel like they need to get out and post a banker lap as quickly as possible. And most likely that would be due to the weather. But yeah, Jensen Randall, first man out on track. Obviously not the place you necessarily want to be, and without a teammate today, unfortunately. He is probably going to find it a little bit more difficult than the likes of, well, the man behind him, Jerome Aramaco, who has a teammate that he can potentially plan a little bit of slipstreaming with. But right now it looks as if Jerome Aramaco is sitting behind Randall to potentially get that toe as Randall rounds the final corner here to begin his first timed lap here in qualifying. He's going to be the first driver to post a lap, unless he unfortunately invalidates. But we do not hope, as he gets a little bit of traffic into the first chicane. It seems it is a Williams, but not too bad as he navigates the first two turns there. And we see the beautiful Golf livery Williams there through turn 3 and heading into the second chicane here at Monza. It is a 25 split at the moment. Not too bad. And then into these two almost, you want to say, 90-degree corners, Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. We have a yellow flag in sector 3. That is probably just due to traffic. And then heading under the bridge here of the old oval that used to be here, and then into this complex known as the Ascari chicane. Very tricky. It's usually the place where most mistakes are made here at Monza, but beautifully navigated there by Jensen Randall, the reigning world champion, and into the final corner here. Just needs the turn-in and the grip on exit, and then it is a clean run towards the line. And what is this going to be for Jensen Randall? It is a 118 flat. It is provisional pole, because as far as I can see, Jerome Adamako might have invalidated his first flying lap attempt. Koivuniemi posts a lap time as well, a 119.2. So not as good as he would have hoped. Instantly beaten by his teammate Pablo Bas, and Jerome Adamako looks as if he has maybe backed, or has he backed off? I don't think he has. But plenty of drivers posting lap times. Let's see if we can catch one of them. Let's catch up with Dion Stahl in the Scarlet Ferrari here at home soil. What is the Dutchman capable of doing? He jumps to P4 right behind Koivuniemi. Tim Venting to P2. Good job there from the Dutchman. Let's pick up... Who should we pick up? Let's pick up Mike Lowry. We've seen him a couple of times now here in SRL. He's done 2 races. This is his 3rd race. He is just about to begin his first timed lap. And last time out in Belgium had a very solid result at the end of the day, as more drivers are posting lap times. At the moment, Jägerström in P4, flying the flag for Williams. And let's cut to Falsaresi as he comes across the line. He jumps to P3, just ahead of Pablo Bas. So very solid there from Falsaresi, as Sandro Dulis behind him has just begun his first flying lap attempt. So let's put the camera on the Ferrari here. Give the Tifosi something to cheer about. Sandro, let's see what he can do. He usually goes quite well here at Monza, as a purple first sector. Very solid there from Dulis. Oh, that didn't look too good though through the second chicane there. The second part looked a little bit deep there from the Greek Ferrari driver, who's also sporting a one-off helmet, it would seem, to commemorate this for the occasion that they are back here at Monza. As Mike Lowry jumps to P6, very solid job there from the American. And yeah, you can see that beautiful red and white lid that he is wearing. Usually wears orange and black dualies, but has a one-off helmet here today. And through the final corner, let's see what dualies can do. It is going to be a 118.9. It's good enough for P5 at the moment, so a very good job there from Dulis, actually. And only 3 drivers yet to post a lap. Nick van Gelder being one of them. He is back from, as we said, a vacation in Italy, actually. So instant flashback for the Dutchman here. As he gets back from his vacation, he is completing his outlap. And once again, the Red Bull pairing running that very beautiful White Bull livery. It's also very fitting with this track, actually, so makes a whole lot of sense, in my opinion. But let's quickly pick up Dion Stahl. He is running towards the line. He is improving, and he's improved to P7. So good job there by Dion Stahl to not only close the gap to his teammate, but climb up the ranking a little bit as well. Let's go back to Nick van Gelder. He is the next, or the first, should I say, of the 3 remaining drivers without a lap time to begin his first lap attempt. As we saw a bit of a glitch there. I don't know what that was about, but not to worry. Van Gelder begins his first timed attempt here into the first chicane. Runs a little bit deep there. Oh, that's not ideal. Gets a big tank slapper coming out of the chicane, and that would instantly have ruined any attempt of potentially challenging for a front spot for the Dutchman, unfortunately. But a banker lap nonetheless is always a good thing, as he runs a little bit deep there into the second chicane as well. Takes a bit of gravel, so not the cleanest run here by Van Gelder. Oh, big slide there as well, heading out of Lesmo 2. Not the most tidy lap here. Let's cut over to Ivan Brito, who at the moment hasn't posted a lap time. He's been on a good run of form though. He has had 2 points finishes in a row, if my memory serves me correctly. And he will be looking to make that 3 out of 3. As Mike Lowry improves to P4, we just saw it there on the timing tower. I think Jerome Adamaco is the first of the 2 Mercedes who is going to finish his lap. So let's cut to the number 11. See what he can do. Nick van Gelder slots into last spot. And Jerome Adamaco heads to the pits. Oh dear. What is this about? But Ivan Brito, good enough for P6. Good job there by the Portuguese driver. And Jerome Adamaco, at the moment, the only driver without any banker lap. That is unusual for Jerome. Wonder if he has had a problem. Alexei Kovaniemi, we briefly spoke about how he does usually really well here. Let's see what the Finn can do. Improves 2 positions there to P8, a 1:18.956 by the Alpine driver. He's still a little far off, just about a 10th off his teammate, as one of the Williams has begun their first lap, or another attempt here. It is the other Williams of Nicola Falsaresi actually. But let's cut back to Jamie Jägerström, because I think he is finishing up on a flying lap attempt here, and he is on course for a good improvement here. Is the Dane. Let's see what he can do. It's good enough for P3 for the Dane. Very solid job. Jumps in front of his Italian teammate, who in turn has posted the fastest first sector according to the timing on the minimap there. And heading into Sector 2, let's see what Falsaresi can do. He has also been on a good run of form, has he? And what can he do? Heading into Ascari, looks very tidy there from the Italian. Obviously wants to do well, running a beautiful Italian-themed helmet as well. But yeah, Williams really putting the pressure on here, not only in the Drivers' Championship, but also in the Constructors. And a good result here today could see them retake that lead. And Falsaresi goes ahead of Tim Venting and takes provisional second at the moment. Let's pick up Pablo Bas, who's also on a fast lap. Fastest Sector 2. I do not know whether that is a glitch or whether that is like genuine pace. But we will see. He is in the fast end of the timing tower already, so if he can just improve a couple of tenths, he'll be looking very, very good for this Grand Prix. And he does improve to P4 nonetheless. And I think behind him, that might be the man, the myth, and maybe the legend at the end of this season, Jerome Adamaco. Not with a lap time yet, but he is beginning his 3rd attempt to see if he can post a lap time. He has 6 minutes remaining, so the time is not running away from him. But as we know, drivers only get a restricted amount of tire compounds for qualifying. And if he has taken a new set every single time he's been in and out of the pits, oh, as he invalidates heading into the first Lesmo. So he's going to have to go again. But yeah, a tire situation could become a problem for Adamaco if he is not careful, because you only have 3 sets of softs, if my memory is correct from my driving days. And if he has swapped tires every single time he's been in and out of the pits, this would be the final set that he is on. So let's see, is he going to go again, or does he have to go for the pits again? It looks as if, yeah, he's heading into the pits yet again. So Adamaco at the moment, not... It looks to be another situation like it was in Belgium, that qualifying just doesn't seem to come together, but let's not jinx it. He still has plenty of time to string a lap together. And here, the only man out on track at the moment, Alex Benedicchetti, Season 2 champion. The Colombian at the moment still yet, as far as I remember, to score points this season. But the number 86, he has been fast in the past, but can he be fast in the... well, now. Not this lap though, as he heads into the pits. But let's cut to the Italian Andrea Latrella then, who, if you are following us on Instagram, which I can only highly recommend, it is at SRL_F1, you would have seen a throwback clip from previous seasons of this exact man right here actually winning this race back in the day. I think it was last season maybe. I could be wrong. But he has a victory to his name here at the Temple of Speed. As we just saw, I think that was Alessandro Iocca who joined the lobby as well. So the Greek substitute will be in. It's just a question of... there we go. He's in the McLaren and he is also going to be able to post a lap time. He has enough time, if he is quick with it, to maybe get a single attempt in. But Andrea Latrella rounding the final corner, building the speed to begin a timed lap here. So let's just stay with the Italian, because I think he is the only one who is currently on a fast lap as he gets by the Aston Martin. Oh, bit of a lock up there. Nothing too major. Might just have been thrown off by the Aston Martin exiting the pits. But he retains control over the V-carb. Let's see, heading into the end of the first sector, he improves by 77 thousandths of a second on his previous best, it would seem, which is a 1:22.058. And that is only good enough for the bottom of the lap times that have actually been posted, but he invalidates. So yet again, we see another driver struggling with track limits. And let's see if I can catch... that must be... let's see... my tracker doesn't really want to work here. Let's pick up on Nicolo Falsaresi, who gets a very good slipstream here down the back straight. Oh, that's going to be lovely. He's going to love that, because this is not a DRS straight, so he's going to pick up a good amount of time there. And if this lap is any good, this could take him to provisional pole. And it does, a 1:18.030. So the Williams man, with that slipstream down the back straight, improves Jensen Randall's provisional pole time. But Randall, much like the rest of the grid, is currently on his way to find an improvement of his own, hopefully. Everyone at the moment is out on track. We have 19 out of 19 drivers out on track. And at the moment, I think this one could be more interesting than anything else. He hasn't invalidated, so Jerome Aramaco, we're going to see the first lap time from the German. What's it going to be? It's going to be good enough for provisional pole. It's a 1:17.5. He improves Nicola Falsaresi's provisional time by over half a second. So the German, who invalidated 3 times in a row, he's finally strung a lap together. And if those tires are any sort of worn, that is going to be impressive in my book. But let's see. Tim Ventink coming to the line. That's not good enough for Tim Ventink. It's not enough for Tim Ventink. So he might be in trouble. But let's see. Jensen Randall. Oh, he's invalidated, Jensen Randall. What about Pablo Bas? We're currently focusing on the top 5. Mainly because it would seem logical that only those drivers can challenge. Sandro Dooley's coming to the line. It's going to be good enough. No, it's not going to be an improvement of position. It's going to be a slight improvement on the lap time as the checkered flag is out. So lap times are going to count now. As Jensen Randall has retired. It is P3 at best for him. What about Dion Stahl here? P12 at the moment. Finds an improvement that is good enough for P11. And Dooley's we saw as well. Running through the chicane there. Not the best of times there for Dooley's. What about, let's see, who is still out on track? Tim Bentinck is not improving, but I have a slight suspicion. No, Jamie Jägerström is not going to improve, and he gets moved down another spot due to Mike Lowry. And let's keep track of here. Robin Herstadhagen. Oh, big slide there from that would be Nick van Gelder behind him. But Robin Herstadhagen doesn't improve his position. Neither does Nick van Gelder. What about Andrea Latrella? He is not improving on his lap time. What about Vincenzo Torre? Going slowly. So I think that might be it for qualifying. So Jerome Aramaco yet again, much like we've seen plenty of times this season, takes another pole position here at the Temple of Speed ahead of the Italian Grand Prix. A 1:17.501 is the lap time that Jerome Aramaco decided to bank on. It's his only lap time of the day, but it's well good enough to take pole position here today at Monza ahead of Nicolo Falsaresi, who himself did a very solid job to displace Jensen Randall at the top of the timetables. But yeah, half a second is the gap as we're just waiting for the Ferrari crew to wheel in the machine of Sandro Dooley's. But yeah, Jerome Aramaco, a 1:17.501 is the lap time that gives him pole position here for the Italian Grand Prix. And in second place is going to be Italian Williams driver Nicolo Falsaresi, half a second behind. Then it is Jensen Randall ahead of Pablo Bas, Tim Ventic, Mike Lowry with another good qualifying session ahead of Jamie Jägerström. And then it is Alexei Koivaniemi ahead of Ivan Brito. And then rounding out the top 10 for qualifying is Sandro Dooley's, who is just ahead of his own teammate. So the Ferrari pairing towards the end of the points here. But they can definitely change that in the race. And who's to say it's going to stay dry? We've seen it plenty of times in SRL that the weather can play tricks. But drivers readying up, just getting their strategies and their selected tires ready for this race. And then we are ready to head out on a reconnaissance lap to begin this race. And I do see that there is a question in the live chat, actually. Very, very nice. Always feel free to ask questions on how you can register. And you are from Romania. I think my best advice would definitely be to head over to Instagram and follow us on @SRL_F1 and then just shoot a message on Instagram to that account and you'll be guided through there. But yeah, we are beginning the reconnaissance lap here at Monza, and Jerome Aramaco, unlike last week in Belgium, actually at the front of the field here today, and he is spearheading Nicolo Falsaresi, who on home soil will be hoping to take another brilliant result, not only to just boost his own championship fight, but potentially also to boost Williams' chances in the Constructors' Championship. Behind him, we have the man who's chasing him down in the championship. 4 points splits these two. It's Jensen Randall in P3, and then it is Pablo Bas with a brilliant qualifying yet again for Alpine. Tim Venting further down than he would have liked, as we get the strategy here. It is a predicted 2-stop by the game, potentially a 3-stop. Let's see if that stays as it is. But yeah, Tim Benting in P5 ahead of Mike Lowry with another solid qualifying display here today. He is ahead of Jamie Jägerström, the second Williams, who will hope that he can advance a couple of positions to potentially assist his teammate in getting this constructor's title over the line. Then we have Alexei Koivuniemi in P8 ahead of Ivan Brito. And then, as I said just before we got going, Sandro Dulles ahead of Dion Stahl, the two Ferrari drivers, a bit further down than they would have liked. And then we have Vincenzo Torre in the Aston Martin ahead of Nick van Gelder in the second Red Bull. Then Alex Benedicchetti in P14 ahead of Alessandro Iocca, who joined mid-qualifying, substituting in the McLaren. He is ahead of Jack Richards in the Aston Martin. And then it is Jesper Lempinen in the V-Carb ahead of Robin Herstadhagen in the second Haas. And he is just ahead of the second V-Carb Andrea Latrella. Very disappointed qualifying from him, but he will begin this race in P19 in last. But here we go. We are ready for this Grand Prix. It is round 14 of the SRL Formula 1 World Championship. It is the Italian Grand Prix. The 5 red lights are on, and we are go for round 14. It looks as if it was a good start by Jerome Adamaco, but Falsaresi pulls into the slipstream of the German. He is flanked by Jensen Randall, who goes for the outside here into turn 1. It turns to the inside in the second part of the chicane. And are we going to make it through in one piece here? Oh, there was a bit of contact there at the back. It looked as if it wasn't totally clean there between some of the drivers at the back. But at the front, oh, Jensen Randall throws one to the inside of Falsaresi and gets all out of shape. Here comes Mike Lowry, who's advanced a couple of positions in turn as well. And we saw some front wing go flying there. Who was that? As Lowry is challenging for the podium here at the beginning of this Grand Prix. Brilliant start from the American, but he is pulling a big train. And next behind him is Pablo Bas. Jensen Randall has lost a couple of positions off the start. And I think that contact together with Falsaresi really upset both him but also all other drivers behind him. As we see a move there for P10. It is Ivan Brito who has lost a couple of positions off the start, but he is still staying within the top 10. But yeah, Falsaresi retains P2 after that big scrap there together with Jensen Randall, as Sandro Dulles is losing a whole lot of positions here. As he is into the pits at the end of lap 1, that looks as if it's a new front wing for the Greek. And yeah, broken front wing on lap 1. That is a very common theme here at Monza, especially with that turn 1 and 2 complex. But Jerome Adamaco has already pulled a 2.2 second gap out in front, courtesy of the battle between Jensen Randall and Nicola Falsaresi. And Ivan Brito making up another position there on Dion Stahl. There looks to be a big battle going on. Oh, we have a yellow flag. That is due to Nick van Gelder losing a bit of time there, but he's got it going again. And we have another yellow flag. That is again for Nick van Gelder. He is in all sorts of trouble here. Has he lost a bit of his front wing? No, it looks okay, but we obviously don't see everything. And also a battle here. Jesper Lempinen moving ahead of Robin Herstadhagen. Not for any points, but still for position. But there's a good battle going on here, I think, as DRS has been activated. So let's see what Pablo Bas can do here. He pulls out of the slipstream of Lowry's Haas, and he makes it into P3 with the aid of DRS. And behind them, we see Nicole... Oh, that's not Nicola Falsaresi. That is Jamie Jägerström, who also have made up a couple of positions. He's currently up to P5 and chasing down the Haas of Lowry and the Alpine of Bas, as Alessandro Iocca is in a feisty battle here between himself, Ivan Brito, and it looks to be Jack Richards. Oh, big lock up there from the Aston Martin, and there's a lot of wheel banging going on here. And Jokke all out of shape. And that looked very, very robust there from both drivers. And all of that resulted in Ivan Brito advancing to P10. But Larry has made it back past Pablo Bas, heading into Ascari. There's obviously 2 DRS zones here at Monza, down the start-finish straight and then the straight that leads from the second Lesmo and heading into the Ascari chicane under the bridge. So Larry has made his way past Bas again, but once again he's going to be defenseless here against the Alpine and potentially also the Williams of Jamie Jägerström, because as we see there, easy pickings for Pablo Bas with the aid of the DRS. Oh, Larry brakes very late, overshoots the corner massively there and picks up a 3-second time penalty as a result of it. Very, very good driving there from Larry to avoid the Alpine, and this is a good battle here. They are 3 wide almost. Jamie Jägerström advancing into P3 here at the beginning of lap 4. Oh, there's a lot of contact there. Jensen Randall trying to make his way past Pablo Bas as well. And finally getting the move done. Moves up into P4, is the reigning champion. And behind them we see Tim Venting also pulling a bit of a train here, consisting of Larry and Koivuniemi. So there's a big battle going on here for what is the final podium spot essentially. But at the moment Jamie Jägerström has made up a good chunk of positions here at the start of the race. I do have a slight feeling and a slight suspicion that he might not be able to keep this position for much longer. Jensen Randall, we see the rear light there flashing on the McLaren. He is charging that battery and getting ready to attack. DRS slot open down the start-finish straight. Here comes Randall to the inside of Jägerström. And even before we get to the corner, Randall manages to pull ahead of the Williams. So good driving there from Jensen Randall. And can he now maybe string an attack together that could see him close up to Falsaresi? Meanwhile, we have a battle here for P5. It's between Bas and Ventink. Ventink not enjoying the best of luck here. In a bit of a down period. Not really capitalizing on the points. And right now he is stuck behind the Alpine, of Pablo Bas. As we have a yellow flag that is for Vincenzo Torre, who has made a mistake in the second chicane. Meanwhile, Dion Stahl also presumably has had to make a pit stop at some point. Not really sure what that is for, but I could have a guess and say that it would be front wing damage, as Alex Benedetti picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Oh, big slide there from the Colombian. We saw it at the background there, coming out of Ascari, maybe taking a little bit too much of that curb. And right now, this train right here, looking very feisty. Jägerström not really able to throw an attack on Jensen Randall, but someone who is looking very feisty as Torre picks up a 10-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. As Tim Venting, is he going to throw an attack here? No, he doesn't. So he's still stuck in P6 behind the leading Alpine of Pablo Bas. And speaking of Alpine, Alexei Koivuniemi has made it into P7. He just overtook Mike Larry on the previous lap. So he is also slowly but surely, if they keep fighting here, he might actually be making his way towards this little train right here. But Jensen Randall, as we see Bas there losing a bit of grip on the entry to Ascari, and thus he doesn't get the correct line through there, and that promotes Tim Venting into P5. And now can Venting maybe tag along with Randall and Jägerström? Let's see what he can do. At the moment, the most exciting battle is for P3. Because at the moment, Jerome Adamaco is still leading. He has extended his lead as Jack Richards, much like his teammate, picks up a 10-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. And same with Alex Benedicchetti. So a lot of drivers getting caught out by the entry to the pits here at Monza. But it seems like we are getting the first round of pit stops right now. Nick van Gelder as well into the pits. Let's actually see if they are changing any components. Oh, we didn't quite catch that, unfortunately. It is what it is. But yeah, Nick van Gelder and Alex Benedicchetti making their way out of the pits here at the end of lap 7. We are currently focusing on the battle for P3. Jensen Randall trying his best to close the 3.2 second gap that is between himself and P2 Nicola Falsaresi at the moment. And Jerome Adamaco now heading into the pits. So that means at the beginning of lap 8, Nicola Falsaresi takes over at the lead of this Grand Prix. Very, very nice to see some split strategies here today. We usually don't see that too often. Let's see what tyre is Adamaco heading onto. He's opted for the hard tyre, and he is going to filter out just behind his teammate, Ivan Brito, into P10. Good stop there from the Mercedes crew, it would seem. And is it too much to think that he could go to the end from this point onwards? Who knows? That remains to be seen. But Jensen Randall, he is closing on Falsaresi at the moment, and in the same process he has also broken the DRS window to Jamie Jägerström, and thus has left the Danish Williams driver to his own together with Tim Venting. And Venting looks really, really pacey here right now. So I would expect at the end of this lap, unless either of them boxes, as Latrella picks up a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, unless either of these two boxes, I do think... Yeah, okay, I was about to say we could see an overtake, but Jägerström heads to the pits at the end of lap 9. And let's see if it is the hard tyre that he opts for here. Williams usually a bit of hit and miss with their strategy calls. Last week was a brilliant strategy call by them, and it is indeed the hard tyres that Jamie Jägerström is making his way out of the pits on. And Pablo Bas, who he was fighting together with, filters out just behind the Dane here. So the undercut looks to be a bit strong here, or looks to be the more powerful option. Let's see. Falsaresi still leads here on lap 9. Is he heading for the pits potentially at the end of this lap? If that is the case, I would probably guess that he could make a one-stop work. Whether it is the fastest strategy, that remains to be seen. And obviously we could also see potentially yellow flags, safety car, whatever. Oh, big lock up there from Falsaresi as he does everything in his power to avoid a speeding penalty as he pits here on the beginning of lap 10. Let's actually stay on board with the Italian here, because I am a bit interested in seeing where he filters out, as Adamaco sets the fastest lap. No surprises there. And where does Falsaresi filter out? The crucial part is his teammate, and his teammate is down in the background. And let's actually cut to him. Pablo Bas is making an attempt here on Jamie Jägerström. Oh, that is very, very close racing. Jägerström hangs it around the... Wow! Hangs it around the outside of the initial turn-in to the first chicane. Brilliant defensive move there from Jamie Jägerström. And behind them we see a battle between... That is Dion Stahl and Robin Herstadhagen. Let's actually get a bit of that. That's also really solid racing. Usually not someone we see a whole lot of, Herstadhagen, but good racing from all four drivers here. And Jägerström able to defend what is at the moment a P8 spot from the attacks of Pablo Bas. As Vincenzo Torre has retired in the pits. So no safety cars here at this point. As Jensen Randall heads into the pits, he lets the lead be relinquished to Tim Ventink. And meanwhile, Jerome Aramaco improves the best lap time to a 1:21.824. But let's see if we're gonna get round 2 of that fight here. Pablo Bas is still within DRS range of Jägerström, and there's going to be a little bit of traffic. Ooh! As Jensen Randall there had to avoid, I think that's the... Oh, there's contact between Bas and Jägerström. Randall had to avoid the AI driver of, that is Vincenzo Torre, deciding to exit the pits. Bit unfortunate there for Jensen. I don't think there's going to be any repercussion for that. But yeah, Bas running into the back of Jägerström's Williams, and could that have been a bit of wing damage to Bas's front wing? Who knows? Or, even worse, for Jägerström, maybe some diffuser damage. Who knows? But he is very close to Jensen Randall, and Randall's tyres haven't fully been brought up to temperature yet, so Jägerström has to strike while the iron is hot. Another 3-second time penalty for Benedicchetti. And Jägerström, he is well within distance of Jensen Randall. The undercut, as we said, is very powerful here, it seems. Because we saw Randall, he had broken that DRS gap to Jägerström before the pit stop round set in. And now Jägerström is back within striking distance. Let's see what Jägerström does. Van Gelder picks up a 3-second time penalty. Heading into turn 1, is Jägerström going to attempt anything? No, it doesn't look like it. And Koivaniemi improves the fastest lap time. He is currently in P8. The Finn going very, very fast. There is a battle there. What was that all about? I think that might have been Mike Lowry, Sandro Dulis. Yep. There's a bit of a battle there between the Haas and the Ferrari. And at the moment, Dion Stahl, the lead Ferrari, not something we usually see, with all due respect to Dion Stahl. He is a brilliant driver, and he has... I'm not sure if it is victories in plural or just a victory to his name. It's been so long, unfortunately, since we've seen him at the top step of the podium. But he has been on the top step nonetheless. But Dool is significantly more often than his Dutch teammate. And right now, back to the battle, which is for P4 at the moment. Jägerström has fallen out of DRS on Jensen Randall, and that means that Pablo Bas could be going for a move here. Let's see, what does the Alpine do? Heading into turn 1, he goes for the move and he closes the door on the Williams. Brilliant driving there from Pablo Bas, and he advances to P5. Let's see if Jägerström can keep with him. And some comments on the live chat as we are watching this brilliant battle right here. Commenting on Jesper Lempinen's race. Unfortunately, currently out of the points. Saying that he is once again just having a stroll and not even trying. I don't know whether that is a dig at his driving, comparing it to Lance Stroll, or whether that is just the literal meaning of having a stroll. Who knows? But let's see, what is Jägerström going to do? Oh, he waits. He doesn't go for the move. Heading into Ascari. To be fair, you also have to be alongside heading into the braking zone before you attempt anything. Otherwise, it is a death sentence, because Ascari is taking at such high pace. But he has not lost contact with Bas's Alpine. And I do suspect heading on to lap 14 for these guys. Yep, there we go. DRS open for Jägerström, and he swoops past the Alpine there. And one Alpine in action leads to another one. Alexei Koivuniemi advancing to P7 ahead of Dion Stahl. So this is what I was talking about heading into this Grand Prix, that with the nature of Monza, with the long straights and not really many fast flowing corners where dirty air has a huge play, we usually see these things where drivers are able to just have a ding-dong battle with each other. One overtakes down the start-finish straight, and then by the time we get around to do it all again, well, the gap hasn't been pulled, and it's reverse roles. So that is what we're seeing now. What we're also seeing right now is Jensen Randall slowly but surely making his inroads on Nicolo Falsaresi for what is virtually P2. Factually, it is still P3, but that is because Tim Venting, who is still leading here on lap 15, is still yet to pit. But with that being said, are we going to have another instance of Pablo Bas versus Jamie Egerström? We certainly are. And heading into turn 1, brilliant move there from the Spanish Alpine driver. And I was expecting Dion Stahl to pull a similar move on Alexei Koivuniemi, but that is not the case. And again, Sandro Dulis, for the second time this race, heading into the pits, and there is a bit of movement here as... Ooh, Jamie Jägerström must have gotten the drive out of the first two corners, because going through Curva Grande, as it is called, turn 3 here at Monza, he has made it back past Pablo Bas. So the Dane is going really well here today. He is showing why he is, along with Nicolo Falsaresi, leading or fighting for the Constructors' Championship. But I don't think Pablo Bas is just done yet. I have an inkling. Is all I am saying. And no, to answer the question in the live chat, Tim Venting is still yet to box. Saying that though, he is into the pits here at the end of laps... beginning of lap 16, my bad. And that means that this becomes the battle for P4 all of a sudden, as Pablo Bas once again makes it past Jamie Jägerström. You can see Tim Venting drops so many positions through his pit stop. He's down to P8. Obviously he has the fresher tires, but let's see, a lot of pit stops. So there are some drivers who are boxing twice here. Again, Jamie Jägerström able to make it past Pablo Bas before we get to turn 4. Very surprising, as Van Gelder picks up a speeding in the pit lane penalty, and that means 10 seconds added. But yeah, this is a great little scrap we have going on for P4 at the moment, and if any of the front 3 makes a mistake, this could turn into a battle for the podium spots. And with all of this battling, we can also see in the background there Alexei Koivuniemi in P6. He is also slowly making his way towards this battle. So I don't know whether that is what Bas is trying to do, to make it a double Alpine versus one Williams situation, as Adamaco pits yet again. Very interesting. Very interesting. So Adamaco on a 2-stop strategy. And that leaves Falsaresi in the lead as Pablo Bas. I'm going to get tired of saying this if this continues, but into turn 1, he makes it past Jamie Jägerström. And let's see if it is a similar situation heading through Curva Grande here. I mean, the commentary writes itself. you would almost think that this is scripted, but it really isn't. But yeah, Jägerström heading into turn 4, back past Pablo Bas. Oh, and Pablo Bas, big loss of the back end there from the Spaniard. Ooh. Oi! And in the background there as well, Mike Lowry. The tyres may be giving up a little bit of that tyre wear, almost dropping it coming out of the second Lesmo. Ooh-wee! They are on the edge here, and you can see the twitching of the Alpine here from the overhead shot, heading through Ascari. Maybe the tyres are getting close to done. But this is very interesting, actually, because Jerome Adamaco has fallen behind Tim Venting due to his second pit stop. I do think, are we going to see? Yeah, Pablo Bas heading for the pits for his second stop of the day as well. So split strategies here today, as there is a battle developing here in the front. We are on lap 18 out of 27. So we have 9 laps remaining. And we are catching a bit of traffic here with the front too. Jensen Randall has been slowly making progress, and he is closing the gap to what is currently the lead of the Grand Prix. But yeah, let's actually quickly take a look at the stops. You can see the top 5 at the moment have only made a single pit stop. And especially for Tim Venting, I don't think he's making more than 1 pit stop. But Jerome Adamaco in P6 has made 2 pit stops, and that has thrown everything a bit into disarray. It's jumbled up the positions here. You can see that both V-Carbs at the moment are in the top 10. Same goes for Alessandro Iocca in P9 and Ivan Brito as well in P10. There are mixed strategies here. Oh, I almost thought there that Falsaresi was heading for the pits, but that was not the case. And Pablo Bas, after his pit stop, has made it past Ivan Brito. He's back into the points. And the next... Oh, and there's a 3-second time penalty for track extending. That's not going to do him any favors in his battle if Jamie Jägerström ends up picking up another pit stop. But Adamaco... fastest lap of the race, he is rapidly closing the gap to his championship rival Tim Venting, who is in P5 ahead of him. But this could get spicy, because I don't think that Venting is making another stop, if my prediction is correct, and that means we're going to have a straight shootout between these two, with Adamaco with the fresher tyres and Venting trying to conserve his tyres to go to the end and do some damage limitation. We have a stranded Red Bull. That is Nick van Gelder in the Ascari chicane. It's nothing that is terminal, and that means he is able to continue onwards. But I was a bit... I was thinking that could be a safety car. If we are seeing some drivers take the tyres quite long, there could be safety car situations. Let's see. Falsaresi still not going for that second stop, neither is Jensen Randall. Let's see what Jamie Jägerström is doing, who's currently on the podium. So good on him if he can get another podium to add to his collection. Still yet to pick up a victory though, but he definitely has the pace that on his day, and if all of the dominoes fall in his favor, he could potentially pick up that maiden victory in SRL. Koivuniemi at the moment also sitting in P4, doing a brilliant job himself. Also only 1 pit stop for the Finn. Same goes for Tim Ventinger. You can see that silver arrow in the mirrors is getting larger and larger, and we have a big scrap going on here. Oi, look at this! How have we missed this? There is a 5-way scrap here. It is Dion Stahl, Ivan Brito, Sandro Julis and Mike Lowry all battling over what is essentially the finals points paying position. Here comes Ivan Brito. That was not the right way. Very well camera work by me there. Ooh, big scrap going on here. What is Lowry going to do? He sits behind Julis at the moment. And Alessandro Iocca in front of these guys. He's still a part of this battle. This is a 5-way fight. Dion Stahl going for that move. And speaking of moves, Jensen Randall has made his way into the lead of the Grand Prix. I thought he was much further behind, but Falsadesi must have made a mistake at some point, because he has just let the lead go to Jensen Randall here on the beginning of lap 21. So we are rapidly closing in on the tail end of this Grand Prix. And look at this battle going on here. This is a straight shootout between 5 drivers. And Brito is going to be aided by the help of the DRS that he has collected from Alessandro Iocca. What is Larry going to do heading into turn 1? Brakes laid. So there's no exchange of positions here. But I don't think this battle for the lead is over yet, because look at this. We are hitting traffic. And that is the Kick Sauber of Alex Benedicchetti and the Red Bull of Nick van Gelder. And, ooh, this is not a good look for Benedicchetti, unfortunately. Got caught there at a very awkward time heading through Ascari. And that is of no fault of his own. But look at this. I think Falsadesi might have a shot here at Jensen Randall. Does Randall have the DRS? He does actually pick up the DRS from the back markers. So that is going to be a huge help for him as Van Gelder pulls to the side and lets the front 2 pull ahead. And they are also yet... Oh, big contact there between Van Gelder and Benedicchetti in the background as they scrap over the wooden spoon here today. Yeah, Randall and Falsadesi still yet to clear Robin Herstadhagen. And Andrea Latrella picks up a 3-second time penalty. Penalties are also going to play a big part in who finishes where at the end of this race, because you see that P10, 9 and 8, and also P7 actually, all have penalties, and Sandro Dulis and even Brito in 11th and 12th respectively, both penalty free. And hopefully I haven't jinxed it just there. But here we go. They clear Robin Herstadhagen. Usually not a big problem with the Norwegian. Very fair driver. Very uncontroversial driver, should we say. But the battle resumes here. And Jerome Aramaco is also making this a battle of his own. He has overtaken Alexei Koivuniemi for P5. Same has Tim Venting. But Tim Venting will be driving on his mirrors right now, because Jerome Aramaco, well, he is occupying both mirrors at the moment on the Red Bull. They are also both closing up on the Williams of Jamie Jägerström in front of them. Here comes Aramaco, though. He has the DRS. It's not going to be difficult, I think. And here on lap 23 out of 27... it's a valiant effort from Venting, but it's going to prove futile against Aramaco. Aramaco takes P4 away from Tim Venting. And his next target is Jamie Jägerström, who's only a second up the road from the German. So let's see what he can do. And he's already within DRS range of the Williams. So Jägerström at the moment, those tyres slowly giving away here on lap 23. And Aramaco in DRS range already. He's probably not going to do anything heading into Ascari. But I do have a slight suspicion that once we get down the start-finish straight, there's going to be an overtaking attempt. Much like there might actually be here. Let's see. Nicolo Falsadesi on Jensen Randall. Falsadesi with the DRS, but Randall with the top speed. He has that McLaren trimmed out, so it's not going to be just yet for Falsadesi. And for Williams, it's going to be another deduction in position. Oh, he makes it very close here, does Jägerström. He's not going to let that one go easily. Ooh. Keeps it around the outside. Oh, bit of wheel banging there from the two. And is this going to make it easier for Tim Venting? It certainly looks like it. And on lap 24, Jamie Jägerström loses 2 positions to Jerome Aramaco and Tim Venting, and is relegated to P5 after running for a long time in what was the final podium spot. And you can already see that the tire difference here from Adamako and the two drivers behind him, the difference is huge. But unlike what we saw in the previous couple of races, this is not going to be a situation where Jerome Adamako is going to pick up a victory, unless, of course, any controversy comes out of this little battle we have going on here. It is Falsaresi still trying to overtake Randall for the lead of the race, but Randall has a very good defense strung together. Saying that, though, he did run a little bit deep into the first chicane. Is Falsaresi, does he have anything heading through turn 3 here? It's not like his teammate, though, unfortunately. And Adamako also not able, really, not on this attempt at least, able to shake Venting and Jägerström. But the top 6 still without any penalties at the moment, so that makes it a clean shootout between these guys. And there's a lot going on in the midfield as well. Oh, look at this! It's a car park here. And all of this results in Pablo Bas picking up 2 positions over Dion Stahl and Mike Lowry. Saying that, though, Dion Stahl swinging back at Bas and taking P7 for himself, jumping over the curbs there. But as I said, penalties are going to prove to be very crucial here. I think Dooley's might be looking at an improvement of at least 3 positions at the end of this race. Here we go again. Lap 26 out of 7. And Falsaresi just doesn't have it, it seems. Or is he saving up for one final attempt? This is the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. The laps have flown by. There's been loads of action over the course of these 27 laps. But Jensen Randall, oh, he looks to have it. He looks to have it. And could this finally be it for Jensen Randall? If it were to finish like this, it would also mean that Jensen Randall overtakes Nicola Falsaresi in the championship standings, since the gap is only 4 points between the two drivers, and the gap in between finishing P1 and P2 is greater than the 4 points. So Randall would benefit hugely from a result like this. But let's wait and see. We still have one tour of Circuit di Monza, or whatever it's called in Italian. I'm not very sure. But here we go. Randall has almost actually struck out a gap of over a second to Falsaresi. So I might have my doubts here that Falsaresi can do anything. But Jensen Randall begins the final tour of Monza here for the Italian Grand Prix, round 14 of the SRL Formula 1 World Championship. And the reigning world champion back where he belongs. If this stays all the way till the end. We haven't seen him in this position for a long time. So it's been a long time coming for the Briton. And he is just about half a lap away from picking up a very, very sweet victory here today. A very surprising victory in my book, but that is no discredit to his skill. Absolutely not. One final DRS zone here, but it is a very short one compared to the other ones. And heading through Ascari, he just has 4 corners remaining. And this is by far the most difficult one. Jensen Randall, the man who is trying to make a comeback in the championship fight, is going to take a very sweet and very well-deserved victory here today. It is Jensen Randall back on top ahead of Nicolo Falsaresi. Championship leader Jerome Adamako is going to find himself finishing P3. I think that he's going to be okay pleased with that. And we have a battle here. This is going to go right to the line. Jamie Jägerström just about getting the drive on Tim Venting, but ultimately it wasn't to be, and Jägerström finishes P5 behind Tim Benting, and then it is Aleksi Koivuniemi in a very well-deserved P6. And then we wait to see what the penalties are going to be. Mike Lowry comes home in P7. I have a suspicion it might not be at the end. Nope, P8 for the American, because Sandro Dulis, like we're used to seeing, goes penalty-free and advances a couple of positions. He finishes P7 ahead of Lowry, and then it is Bass, P9, ahead of Dion Stahl, who picks up the final point here at Monza. But Jensen Randall back where he belongs, as many would say. Brilliant drive from the reigning champion. Great strategy from the McLaren team to put him on a one-stop. And great execution from Randall himself to make that one-stop actually work towards the end here. And great defense to also survive the attacks from Nicolo Falsaresi. But there he is. Union Jack once again rises to the top here at Monza. And I think the Tifosi, although they would have liked to see either one of the Ferrari drivers win or one of their own, I think they're going to be pleased with Falsaresi's P2, and then Jerome Aramaco does everything that he needs to do at the moment. His concerns are, if we're being honest, not with Randall or Falsaresi. His main focus, his closest competition is Tim Benting, and he managed to finish ahead of him despite the difference in strategy here today. So a bit of a surprising result nonetheless, but a good one, a welcomed one, it has to be said. But there we go. That is the end of round 14 of the SRL Formula 1 World Championship. Jensen Randall takes another victory, the most decorated driver in SRL history, and he adds another victory to the pile. What a great drive from him. And definitely someone, in my opinion, who would get a shout for driver of the day. And if you want to have any say in who gets driver of the day, I would highly suggest heading over to Instagram at SRL_F1, because over there on our stories we are going to have a vote between the drivers who made the biggest impressions over the race, and have a vote between them of who gets driver of the day. A shout could also actually be both Williams drivers, with Jamie Jägerström and Nicolo Falsaresi, in my opinion. And then I think those are the three that really stand out to me. So, but yeah, that is the end of that. That was one heck of a race, a very nail-biting one that had battles pretty much all the way through. Unlike what we have seen in previous races. And that is a very welcomed fresh breath of fresh air. That's how the saying goes. There we go. But yeah, Italian Grand Prix round 14. There we go. And it's going to be a couple of weeks before we go racing again. Next race is round 15. It is the Chinese Grand Prix. That is on March 14th. And unfortunately, I won't be with you there. It is going to be someone else who's going to guide you through the race at that time, unfortunately. But I am going to be back for March 21st, which is round 16, which is the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And then round 17, the Japanese Grand Prix, that is on April 4th. So those are the upcoming 3 Grand Prix that you have to put into your calendar. March 14th, March 21st, and April 4th, with respectively the Chinese, Las Vegas, and Japanese Grand Prix. And I am certainly looking forward to it. China is always a track that I have a slight feeling that throws a bit of a good show, especially with that very long back straight. And Las Vegas as well. I mean, the Strip with that long DRS zone, you're never really sure who's going to be where before you get to the end of it. And then Japan, Suzuka, I mean, classic. So make sure that you write those 3 dates into your calendars. And unfortunately, as I said, I won't be there for the next race, which is March 14th, the Chinese Grand Prix. But I'll be back with you to guide you through the Las Vegas Grand Prix on the 21st instead. Whew. But that is going to do it for this race. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, I would highly suggest and highly encourage you to both like the live stream and consider subscribing if you aren't already subscribed. It shows us that you like what we're doing, and it gives us some support, which is always appreciated. Again, all of these results that you are seeing on the live stream are still provisional. They are due to change if the stewards do find anything that they have to penalize post-race. And therefore, I would highly suggest that you head over to Instagram and follow us there at SRL_F1. You'll get all of the latest news, both regarding result changes, but also championship updates, driver announcements, and all of that good stuff. But that does it. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. That was a good one. And as I said, I won't be there with you for the next one, but until we see each other again for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, I wish you a very, very blessed Saturday and very blessed week. And until we see each other again, my name is Sam, and it's been a pleasure doing commentary for you. Have a lovely evening.